Hello and a very warm welcome to you. It's my pleasure to welcome you to another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia. Of course, the 30th day, the last day in the month of November, and we are happy and grateful to God for seeing us so far. And that ushers us to the month of December, the last month in the year 2019. Once again, you're welcome to the program Editors Forum. On this program, we get to discuss front burners and issues affecting the country. And on today's edition, we have lots of things packed up for you today. During the week, we heard of the federal government during the FEC meeting revealing that, or rather confirming the fact that there's a rise in inflation due to border closures. We also had that President Muhammadu Buhari asked and requested for a fresh request for loan. We also had that the Lagos state government approved, or rather said that they will start paying 35,000 naira minimum wage in November. And we also had the issue of the jumbo pension pay for ex-governors, and we had the Zamfara State House of Assembly abolishing that particular law. Well, all this we'll be discussing on today's edition of Editors Forum. And with me on the show today, I have Yemi Saka, Public Affairs Analyst. Thank you for joining us on the show.
It's nice to be here. Can I say welcome back? This was
yes, you can say that. Thank you very much. You're looking fresh as well. Enjoy the money. Okay, it's the powder. All right. It sounds good. Thank you for joining us. I am Bate, President, Guild Public Affairs Analyst of Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on the show.
Always a great pleasure. Great pleasure.
Okay, also joining us is Dr. He's already smiling, and I've not even called his name. Dr. Dayo Kayode. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm smiling because I know you're putting on blues for Chelsea. That means Chelsea is
let's not bring that up now. Let's not bring that up now. All right, you're once again welcome to today's edition of Editors Forum. Now we'll start with the rising inflation due to border closure. We know that for some time, President Muhammadu Buhari and of course the federal government called for the closure of the borders, and we talked about the effects of these closure. And one of it, apart from the positive side effects in the sense that it has reduced the amount of ammunition coming to the country and lots of things, we also have a major problem now coming up as inflation. Let's take a look at this report. When we're back, we'll take and analyze these issues. The federal government says it will not go back on its position on border closure until neighboring countries meet its conditions. Minister of Information Lai Mohammed made the remark at the end of Wednesday's Federal Executive Council meeting held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Government insists they must respect the ECOWAS protocol on transit. Although the border closure may have resulted in a slight increase in inflation, government says it has become necessary.
Headline inflation declined every year, every month for several months before we noticed an uptick in the last 2 months. And now headline inflation is at 11.61.
Closure, frankly speaking, is what we needed to do, and we had to do it. We cannot continue to subsidize the rest of West Africa. Now, and the benefits from the border closure, for me, I think far surpasses the very little base increase in inflation.
The officials say the border closure has saved the country 30% of its fuel consumption and reduced the number of arms and ammunition coming into the country. Minister of Finance gave indices on the growth of the gross domestic product. She said GDP did better in the third quarter of 2019 than it did in the corresponding quarter of 2018.
Nigerian economy. I'm sure you all must have seen the report that was released by the National Bureau of Statistics early last week. Nigeria in the third quarter, the GDP grew by 2.38% in real terms, year on year. This is compared to 1.81% for the corresponding period in the year 2018.
Council also received and approved 3 memoranda from the Ministry of Works and Contract for road construction, as well as update on the status ongoing 524 roads across the country. Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Fashola gave the update.
Previous years of insufficient budget
And during that period, the price at which it was awarded and today's material prices have altered significantly. Cement, iron rod, labor, diesel, petrol, and all of that. So he's asking for a revision which has been approved. So we've also extended completion period for him by 6 months. So we are hoping that this is one of the roads that will be completed in the new year. I think with the news of this approval, he will have comfort now to go back and work.
Council also ratified the United Nations Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons as part of a major step to maintain global peace. Nigeria becomes the third country in Africa to ratify the treaty after Gambia and South Africa. All right, you're welcome back. You're still on to Editors Forum, exclusive to Galaxy Television. And from the clip you saw there, that was the federal government admitting that the closure of the country's land borders is increasing, or rather contributing to the rise of inflation. We also had the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed. We also had Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and Babatunde Fashola, Minister of Works and Housing. Now, just to say it again, she said now the headline inflation is at about 11.61%. As at the end of October. Now, if I get my economics right, we'll say inflation is the increase in the prices of goods and the decrease, or rather the fall in the purchasing value of money. In other words, what your money could have afforded before, due to the increase in the price of commodities, your money would not be able to afford this. So you have that, your value, so you see yourself having like 1,000 naira and you can't actually see what it can buy in the market. And that's, for me generally, in a layman's term, like the issue of inflation that is coming up. So I'll start with you, Yemi Saka.
Well, it's very unfortunate that we have a pack of wolves leading us as president of the country. My choice of words, my opinion, if you go back or probably watch that clip again, that short reportage. We saw the Honorable Minister of Information entering a dishonorable statement saying insignificant increase in inflation, 11%. The Minister of Finance said the GDP grew at 2.something% as against now 1.7% this same time last year. And he asked us some basic questions. Who slowed down the economy? This administration. The economy and the GDP has been growing at rate of 5% from Obasanjo's era to the days of Jonathan. We've not started the business of the economy. So you borrow your mathematics. Inflation is 11.something%, GDP grew at 2.something%, subtract 2 from 11, you have over 9% deficit to cover up. And it tells you that this government is clueless. So now we know the definition of clueless. It wasn't the PDP, Jonathan-led PDP government that was clueless, now this is a clueless government. Think about border closure, we cannot subsidize other West African countries, and you ask yourself, in every region, as we speak, if you go to the EU, the largest economy in the EU is Germany. Germany is complaining, but Germany has not shut down its borders, or closed its borders against Poland, against probably, So in today's economy and globalization, you cannot come with primitive policies and you think it will make sense. It's going to cost a lot of things. There's going to be a jolt in the system and the shock, and that's what we're saying. Moving forward, you ask yourself, if I've seen reportage of seizures of arms and ammunition at various border posts that probably will say, yes, these are the gains of the border closure. This is probably the sensible reason to close the border. But the paramount reason for border closure is rice. That is every reportage you see the seizure of rice. And I ask a simple question. The largest grower of rice in this world is China. And as we speak, China still imports rice. It's not rocket science. And these people just make analysis feels like we are superhumans and demigods. When it's something that is so commonsensical, you make it look so cumbersome, or makes it look like a very deep intellectual or profound intellectual exercise. Once you don't attain rice sufficiency, through local production, there is no sense for you to close your border, because it means that rice available will not be able to satisfy the wants of the market. It caused a demand pull inflation. If that Now, you saw Lai Mohammed dismissing the inflation rate, and in the same conclave, you have Invaki Fashola complaining about the steep rise in inflation of cost of building materials affecting the project execution in Nigeria. So you now ask yourself, who is the conductor of this orchestra playing this discordant symphony? I don't want to say much, but to the blind and to the deaf, it is visible and it is audible that this country is probably we are probably going to get lost adrift at sea with these people as captain of the ship, unless God, Dr. Carly doesn't like that. God miraculously intervenes. Miracle still happens, but with these guys, we are drifting towards precipice. Not precipice in terms of violence or strife. We are drifting towards precipice as fastly as we can when it comes to economic forces. And if care is not taken, a little blow of breeze will tilt over and fall into a ditch.
Okay, thank you very much, Yemi. Let's quickly hear Ayobajo's reaction to this.
Thank you very much. Before any group of people in government, comes up with a policy, there must be thinking through.
All right.
You will look at, all the factors that will more or less enhance what you want to achieve by that policy. You will look at the implications, especially the negative impact on the quality of life of the citizen. It's very, very important. The border closure more or less has had, some, applause.
Yeah.
Even from the IMF, from some other people. Chief Olusegun Obasanjo recently added his voice to it. But I believe that you cannot live in the substance and be chasing the shadow. The substance being that, what are you producing? And what you are producing, at what capacity are you producing? And what you are producing at that capacity, what can you do to more or less upgrade it?
Okay.
These are the market needs.
All right.
So if you don't bring all this into the picture, of course, you will definitely fail. And I was a little shocked because the border closure came soon, just weeks after signing the African Trade Pact. How do you do that? And then, okay, you close the borders in the south and you leave the borders in the north porous. So there are so many, parameters to look at. So, when you consider the negative effects, of course, we know that this inflation, and then people talk about rice, and the food technologies. That's where I have my master's degree. I will tell you that it's not just producing that matters. There is what you call the value chain. The value chain. You have produced the raw material. Oh, well and good. Now that you have produced the raw material, is it adequate for consumption? And then you will think of how will you sustain it. And to sustain it, what do? You add value. You process it with modern technology. Apart from processing, then you now think of how will you store it, preserve it. I mean, if there is excess. Or also, you go to the issue of marketing. Let me give you some instance. In the Old Western region in the 60s,
all right,
we were producing cocoa. But that cocoa that we were producing was in the raw form and we were exporting. I will tell you that if they added value to that cocoa that time to process it into other products, you could have, even the cocoa house, the first television and some other things that we were talking, they could have achieved far more than that. So the government, I used to ask myself, when you are taking decisions like this, what is your motive? Then what is your method of achieving that? So as we can see, there was no thinking through. They were not prepared for the negative effect. And of course, the pressure is mounting on the government now. Do something about it. At the point they say, okay, sometime early next year or the first quarter, they will do something about it. So what matters mainly is that how do you enhance, how do you increase, how do you upgrade local production, and what, not just of rice, every other thing that you produce, and then of course to add value to it, so that at the end of the day, the people that are involved in this, they will have value for their efforts, value for money, value for whatever energy they have made.
Okay, thank you very much for that. All right, thank you for that enlightenment there, improving our local production. While still talking border closure, we also had reports of the federal government being asked to review restriction order on petroleum, and we saw that residents of border communities in Ogun State appealed to the federal government to review its order on border closure, declaring the policy as killing them. Now, at a press conference in Abeokuta, now some professors said and alleged that security operatives saddled with the responsibility of enforcing the president's order on petroleum exportation, or rather importation, within the radius of 20 kilometers to the border have become overzealous and resorted to killing innocent people under the guise of chasing petroleum smugglers.
I will differ from the two of them. All right. Totally. Because they are looking at the lemongrass on top. They are not looking at the ligbe underneath. I have asked for a translation, but no problem. You know, when you see these small ants dancing on top of water, there is something underneath, drumming for it. But then in Yoruba, which I also interpret for you, they always say something. That is, a dog doesn't bark and then you now see the mouth tearing apart. Me, I will tell them what is real.
All right.
You are only speaking English and you are speaking figures. Let me tell you what is happening to these people. It is what I termed idiosyncrasies of the hegemonic structure. All right? Okay. All they are doing, it's not that they don't know. It's not that they don't know the impact. It is intentional.
Why?
What is the essence of government? The essentiality of government, as I know, is economic, socio-economic well-being of the people. Any other thing, they are just jara addition. Right? I've known that when you do this, there is bound to be upsurge in prices of commodities. Why should you embark on it? Especially when it has no significant effect on your economy. Let me give you an example. If Cotonou, Benin Republic, is importing the whole rice of this world and importing the whole cars of this world, and they are not using it, bringing it to Nigeria, you as a government, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to look at why is it that those areas are attracting all those commodities and not your own country that is having that advantage of the population. Yeah. That is the end user of those things. Why? Check your ports. Look at their own ports. Then check out their own businessmen. Check out your own businessmen. Because that's what we call AU. That's what we call ECOWAS. That's also what we call neighboring country. You know, each and every level has different forms of relationship they're supposed to have. Like my brother said, shortly after, they signed African trade. Do you understand? I think it was on this platform we were talking about. I said, these people are signing. Do they know the? I mentioned it that time. I can still go and look for the clips. Have they been able to find out the implications of what they are signing? But look at what is happening now. Look at the inflationary rates. Thank God it was Madam Finance that said it.
Not,
so that, not me. Thank God. I mean, you showed the clip. So these people, my brothers, they know what they are doing. They are just trying as much as possible to inflict further hardship. Or like you were explaining the other time, it is nothing other than real income. Reduction in real income. Real income is the amount of goods and services that your money can purchase at any point in time.
Price purchasing parity.
Do you understand? So the moment there is inflation, it reduces the number of goods and services that money can purchase. That means the 1,000 of last month is like 500 of today.
But what do you expect the government to do?
What they are supposed to do is what I have just said. They need no clothes, no border. Because some of them are saying it's because of arms and ammunition. Have they been able to display arms and ammunition?
It's only rice.
Only rice, ororo, what do they call ororo in English?
Vegetable rice.
This one can make somebody to even be short of work sometimes. Do you understand? It's only that. But then look at how people are suffering now. I was telling Labour, you see, sometimes I heap a lot of blames on Labour. Labour supposed not to have asked for minimum wage. They're supposed to have asked for a sustainable minimum living standard. Look at this thing now, they have increased their wages. Tell me that they are 30,000 and even the 35,000 Lagos is going to give them. Is it the same for Joseph that he has as out of 3 months ago? So that thing has reduced. Are you now telling me that you're not going to go back? So if you have been talking about living standard, minimum living standard, sustainable living standard, they will have known that look, if you do this, it will affect the sustainable living standard, minimum living standard. So they wouldn't do it. So that is what we people, we should put them on the guard. Let us stop talking theory. It's not about theory. It's not. Okay. This is what they are doing.
All right.
Two things.
Okay, quickly.
To what they've said, I'll make it very quick. The only solution they want to profile now, which we should be expecting in the next weeks, is probably Naira devaluation.
So we see.
It is the only. That is the only shot out of this mess. And increase that. What would that cost to increase in exchange rate? Secondly, this policy, which they are celebrating because of they want to get the rice sufficiency, will cause rice glut in the market.
Exactly.
In a couple of it, because almost every state now is setting up rice mill. Oh, it's already set up rice mill and the rice is the market. What happens to the farmers? Your gain, you end up losing it. I don't know who thinks of this.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll see all that pans. I think we had news of them. Okay, they are having contradictory statement because before we had federal government saying that in 2020, but now they are insisting that until neighboring countries make their demands, border closure will.
Which demands are they? Which demands are they talking about? Is it using algorithm that you and I cannot? Let them show Nigerians. These are the demands.
Those demands are they say they are not.
Which demands? Is it Hebrew, Arabic?
All right.
No demand.
Okay, let's wait for the federal government to answer that. But still talking economy now, we also had news, and there was quite an uproar as the president, Muhammadu Buhari, requested for made a fresh request for $29.96 billion loan. Okay, I'm not going to approximate now. This was what he asked for. And so President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday resent the $29.96 billion 2016 to 2018 external borrowing plan to the Senate for its consideration and approval. Now, Buhari made the request a day after the International Monetary Fund warned Nigeria against rising debts.
Yes.
The Debt Management Office has said out of Nigeria's total debt profile of 25.7 trillion naira as of June 2019, external borrowing accounts for about 32%, while the 68% is domestic. And we remember, or rather we recall that in 2018 also Buhari requested for this, and according to the chairman of the Senate Committee on Local and Foreign Debt in the 8th National Assembly, that is Senator Shehu Sani, he explained why the federal parliament then in 2018 as the 8th National Assembly rejected it, and he said, we turned down the federal government loan request of $29.96 billion to save Nigeria from sinking into the dark gully of a perpetual debt trap. Sani in a statement on Friday added that we don't want our country to be recolonized by the creditor banks. I'll start with you, Ayobaji, on this.
Exactly. Thank you very much for this question. Incidentally, yours truly, I have been writing on this issue for public awareness for years. And I brought my book here, Drumbeats of Democracy, which is a compilation of my writings for 40 good years in different newspapers, both here in Nigeria and outside. Okay. I wrote 2 opinion essays on the huge debt profile. The first one is debilitating debt profile. Nigeria's debilitating debt profile. That was about 2010. And later, I I now wrote another one. Who is going to pay these huge debts?
Our children. My
Who's going to
children.
pay?
No, I'm going to have children, so my children and grandchildren.
Let me tell you, an average businessman will tell you that there is no way that your business can function properly without borrowing. But you have to do the mathematics. The equation has to balance. In your planning stage, you have to be able to, satisfy the condition that within so period you'll be able to offset such debt. So the way and manner these debts are coming in, I'm baffled. As at that time, I met one other analyst somewhere in a sister television station about 4 years ago, and he was saying, the country should borrow. The country should borrow. I said, okay, who is going to pay this debt? We are already seeing the dangers ahead now. If the IMF can warn Nigeria that we should be careful about the debt that we look at, two South African countries are already battling with China. Over the huge debt that they are owing, and to the extent that they are even trying to take over their seaport or one other aspect of their economic platform. So how do you do it? I ask myself, between 1960 and 2015, the debt profile of Nigeria is far less than what we have borrowed between 2015 and right now. And you keep giving reasons why you have to borrow. Then people will ask, even the amount you are borrowing, one, there are questions, fundamental questions. Are we no more selling crude oil? Are we no more getting any money at all? What about the huge sums of money we hear from the customs that they've gotten? And what about they are talking about them? What about the money that they said they recovered, the huge sums of money they recovered from stolen from the. So the equation does not balance. Now you go around, you see the pottery roads, the water supply, the power supply. So just a second. By the time you add all these figures, something is wrong somewhere, and Nigerians should be very careful. I think it is time for those who have sincere love for this country, to start asking the leaders, not fearing the leaders, not worshiping your leaders. Ask them the questions. Who will pay this debt?
No, it's not even about who will pay this debt now. It's about sending us into another form of colonialism. In my Independence Day speech, it's still on YouTube. I said there, are we to celebrate our Independence Day or just acknowledging it? Why? Because all those scenarios that we were experiencing when our forefathers were fighting for independence are still in place now. Even more. Let us go to 8th Assembly. This same government came up with this issue. And based on 1, 2, 3 reasons, they said no. Okay? Now, how come you are now bringing, because it was then 2016 to 2018 borrowing plan. So how come you are still bringing 2016 to 2018 borrowing plan to 2019? That is 1. 2. In which area of this year's budget was this thing inputted to? All right. Then 3. I want them to show Nigerians the blueprint they have prepared on how to spend this money, how to recover this money, and how to pay back this money. Let's drop that one too aside. Let's go further. The other time they said they have recovered 90 billion from the Ziani.
They try to get your own squares for life.
What now? They said they have collected how much trinket again in dollars. They said JAMB is now bringing in this amount. Custom is bringing in this amount. We have recovered this. We have FIRS. We have recovered that. Where do we have all this money? All right. Now going further again, look at the Chinese government. Go and look at this borrowing properly.
Okay.
This same Chinese government, I said it the other time when they started Polaris Bank, that is now stealing people's money. They stole my money since January. I've told them what I will show them. They will never say the story in their lifetime. Go and check that Polaris Bank. 2 or 3 weeks ago, it was in the news. Chinese, they were about to buy into shares of Polaris Bank. All right. Now this debt, this borrowing now is coming again. And look at what Chinese have been doing in various countries. So where are we going to in Nigeria with this another 30 billion? I think Nigerians, the way we stood up against Ruga, we also have to stand up against this $30 billion
Okay, quickly,
I'll make it very quick. It said something, and I probably want my own analysis. The reason China is looking into Polaris Bank, former Sky Bank, is just an inroad into the telecommunication sector, because the SAT3 is being held by Polaris Bank because it was sold to Sky that transformed into Polaris. So anybody that owns Polaris Bank owns the backbone of ICT in Nigeria. That is the bottom. Don't let us. That is why the hostile takeover of Polaris Bank was implemented and executed. Polaris Bank on CAC to platform, even when it was announced and was given operational license by Central Bank, was not registered by CBN. Was registered by CAC rather. So it's forget about the cowboy moves. Now it said something, and I'll now tell you the insincerity of this government. They are a bunch of liars. I'll tell you, how can you present a loan request of $29.9 something billion and you are bringing the same request in 2019 without factoring inflation? So it's not, that means these guys are just doing copy and paste. They have an agenda. They want this money at all costs. You must give us. And the most pathetic thing right now, the most unfortunate thing right now, is you have a night assembly that is not functional. Even if it's kind of a stamp, it's even useful, because at least you know there's an effort for something. It is just non-existent and it is fundamentally useless.
Okay, careful with all you.
I know what I'm saying. Now, I want to run down something to you. I got something from a friend's page on Facebook. It said between January 2019 to October 31st, 2019, the Nigerian fiscal operation had a deficit of 4.5 trillion naira. That is $13.24 billion. Operational fiscal operation means budget management, expenditure, and even debt management. Now, the FG total expenditure from January to October is 7.70 trillion naira. Capital spending is $5.5 billion. That is just 1.69 trillion. That is what they spent on roads, airports, and what have you. The bulk of it means they spent it on what's it called? Salaries, pensions, servicing of debt, buying cars, paying for hangar fee when Buhari was there, and for everything. And it's going to go on.
That was where?
That was where? Because I'll give you this. That is from. I'm the Buhari-led government has borrowed 12.58 trillion naira from June 2015 to October 2019. It's not me. It was CBN that published it, based on what I saw. The total revenue from 2015 June to October 2019 is 17.28 trillion naira. The Nigeria's capital expenditure from 2015 to 2019 is 5.8 trillion naira. That means almost 24.38 trillion naira was spent on salary, like I said earlier, extra codes and what have you. And I say this, and I'll say this, from 2015, let's give them this period that they need to prepare 2015 budget. From 2016 to 2019, the presidency, it's not just National Assembly that's got the presidency. I can tell you can account for, or if not 500 billion naira for cooking gas, for sporting equipment, for sporting activities, to prepare budget. To be able to prepare the budget of the State House was put at the price of 200 million naira. Something that if you look at their budget from 1999 to date, it is simply copy and paste. So you ask yourself, back to what we are saying now, who is going to pay? This 30 billion naira, $30 billion you're asking for. You see, if they borrow this much, and an average Nigerian can go to the general hospital in Igodu and have a heart bypass surgery, I won't have a complaint. I won't have any complaint. If Muhammadu Buhari falls sick, will probably be treated in Aso clinic, or probably, and he wants to go on vacation or private visit, he goes to Budukatu Ranch or National Park in Oyo, I won't have a problem. Now I know you are justifying this expenditure and this borrowing, but we are not seeing it.
All right, thank you very much.
Another thing is this: you see, the government needs to be realistic. The global economy is moving away from where the government has to do a lot of things. It gives you this makes the call for restructuring still vibrant, still relevant. Yeah. You have to be physical. We have to be structured. When it comes to physical economy, you have to be structuring. Yeah. Gatwick, I'm not even sure which of the airports in UK is controlled by a consortium, not the government. These days, the government doesn't have business in business. London Heathrow. The government doesn't have business in business. Atiku said he was going to sell NNPC. Maybe he's misgiving or doing what he will sell to his friends. But now they are saying, because we have to sell all these things. They are not assets, so they are liabilities, because we have to. Okay, if you look at the dead refineries in Nigeria, people are still collecting salaries as workers of Kaduna Refinery. What are they producing in Kaduna Refinery as we speak?
Basic questions to ask them, but unfortunately there are a lot of questions there on the table, and of course we're still waiting for the 9th National Assembly. let's hear. They've not made a statement. They only told us what the president has brought on the table. So
agendas. What I'm taking away from the topic, they want the agenda is probably the social media regulatory bill, hate speech bill, and probably, and it's actually able to talk about. How can the Senate president tell me that any proposition that comes from Mr. President, they will approve it because it's in the interest of the country? It shows you a guy that has outsourced his thinking and independence to the presidency.
Thank you very much, Yemi Saka. We'll not go into that. We still have other issues on the table there while we wait for the response from the 9th National Assembly. Now we also have let's just. If we don't believe in good things, if we don't have a positive mindset, then how can we bring about change?
You must be ready to receive that miracle before it can come. But we are not ready to receive it.
All right, okay, away from that, we had news, we've been seeing news of former governors drawing billions as retirement allowances from state government, while pension arrears of retired workers have continued to accumulate. On Wednesday, different groups commended the Zamfara State House of Assembly for abolishing the pension law for former governors, their deputies, as well as former speakers and their deputies. So we had before, we had about jumbo pay. So, for example, a former governor will still be receiving pension. Then imagine a former governor also in the Senate would also be having its own.
Yeah,
we know the end of that.
I was discussing with somebody yesterday. I was discussing with somebody yesterday as regards this democratic rule we say we are experiencing now. I said, are we really in democracy or in civil rule? You know, there are two different things. Democracy will not kill you the way it's killing us. Democracy is government for the people, by the people, where justice, equity reigns, and where people's socio-economic conditions are being taken good care of, not those people that are serving you. You can see some legislators now, their speaker is receiving Lexus Jeep of 70 million, while the legislators themselves are receiving the one for 40 million. Do you understand? And this is from this money that we say we are looking for. To borrow. I mean, we are looking. Do you understand? Yes. Now the issue is this. Yeah, good enough for that governor that try as much as possible to wipe away the so-called jumbo pay that they are paying former
governors,
political office holders, not only governors, political office holders, you know. But the issue is this. How about other states? Because we can now see where this money goes to. All this money they are borrowing. We are borrowing this money for frivolities whereby you are not going to recover them. I mean, when you borrow money and then you use it to buy cars for your legislatures, you use it to pay salary for yourself, Jumbo pay for yourself, you use it to build the houses for yourself in Lagos and Abuja, how do you recoup such money? It's a big deal that we need to look at properly. But then, the National Assembly itself supposed to take that thing upon themselves. But it's a pity, most of them too are now retiring in the National Assembly. So even for them to now come into to state assemblies and say, look, this thing must not happen, it becomes difficult. There is a Pabio there, there is a lot of retired so many of them there. So they wouldn't allow it to happen. But Nigerians themselves, honestly, it's about the people. We ourselves supposed to stand up against these things. Okay. Because we are the one bearing the brunt.
Quickly, let's hear from Mario about
Yes. I think this is a topic that is very infuriating, very annoying. What is in going? Is this rocket science? Is this something that other people cannot do? What is so special about governance that even after 4 or 8 years that you have enjoyed the perquisites of office, you still go ahead to ask for pension? What is pension? Whereas, and at the same time, pensioners, those who were in government, who did not steal government money, who worked with all their mind, who were serious about performing their functions, many of them have fallen victims to debilitating disease, and many of them have died. There is that iniquity. Tomorrow, check the papers. You will see my write-up, Drumbeat Independent, and also at the back page or one of the pages of Business Day tomorrow. This same issue, squandering of Nigeria's riches, has got to stop. And it is we people that should realize the fact that this is not what we call democracy. Not at all.
A civil rule.
It is. Why should the democracies be skewed in favor of the ruling class, of the ruling elite? People that already have stolen us blind. They are the same people that are coming back to ask for pensions. Pension for what? To do what? Kudos to the Zamfara state governor. And I want the others to have a political will to toe the same line. We don't.
Is this something that we do?
In 2016, complaints came from different states that this is one of the reasons they could not pay. By the time do you know the amount for 47 ex-governors and their deputies? It's 37.367 billion every good month. Do you know what that amount can do in terms of getting poor people's children to school? You know what that can do in terms of health care delivery? You know what that one can do in terms of lifting the quality of the living standard of the average Nigerian? What we call the Human Development Index, HDI, of the average Nigerian has been a question that has bugged the United Nations. They've been looking at it. How can an oil-rich nation has social number of the poorest people? Now we are not only the world capital of the poorest people in the whole world, we are the world capital of the hungriest people in the world. So there is this inequity, and in fact I started thinking that we have to sit down and rework this democracy. This is not the democracy that will favor the people. Any democracy that will not favor the people, we have to do away with it.
Okay, Yemi Saka is having a bit of disinterest, and I'm wondering the reason for that. Is it because of the pay, or you're wondering?
No, because we should look at where this whole can I say rubbish started from. Pardon my choice of words. It started from Lagos State.
Okay.
And when one guy was living in 2007, he came up with a law that senators, that governors retire at the Senate was even allegedly credited to this man, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that it was rumor that was going to go for the Senate. It was going to go to the Senate, but stepped down his ambition for Ghanaian Solomon. So he started it, he got away with it, and everybody was like, he opened the eyes of other governors that yes, this is a bazaar. You can legitimize, and you can legitimize the strangulation of any state you ruled by law. And how is it possible for them? Because most of them, they pocket the State House of Assembly throughout their 8 years in office. So the State Assembly, by the time they go to Laha, Lagos State House of Assembly, most of these guys, some of them are just recycling themselves, and in ACN, APC, whatever, there is a succession plan of, queuing up and everything. So it's like, it's a family. So don't expect Lagos State to change it. And that's the beauty of democracy. But any state that wants to prove to Nigerians that they mean well, because if you look at what Tinubu has drawn from Lagos State, what Fashola has drawn from it, I didn't say they stole it by the virtue of the law enacted. What Ambode, because Ambode wasn't impeached, look at their deputies as well, except Akerele Bokno, the lady that was impeached. Even with Femi Pedro. Now tabulate it and tell me if you go to Yanopaja, if you go to there's a part in Lagos State that I think they've been forgotten. Ajegule. Those things will transform their lives. It shows you the wickedness of the building. And throughout their 4 or 8 years, there's even a certain amount of money that comes to them unaccounted for. The so-called security votes. So you now ask yourself, and now they will now tell us, because that's where my anger with this government is, that change begins with me that should sacrifice. How? No, how? Until I skin myself and I'm sweating blood. But you know the good thing about it, I said it yesterday on Facebook, I will say it again today. I will take cue from Dr. Kayode. Everyone wants to fall. It's not just on one person. It's going to fall on all of us. Okay. But the impact. Clamoring, shouting that these people have no plans for us.
All right. Thank you very much, Yemi Saka. Thank you that you brought about Lagos State. And on the news, while that is still going on the news, we had Lagos State government revealing the fact that they're going to start paying 35,000 naira minimum wage as from November.
No, it's possible.
Yemi.
No, it's possible, because I will say that now that I just said Lagos State, now I'm even thinking like a conspiracy theorist. Maybe it's just a way to deflect the Gaussians' mind from asking them to reverse or repeal that law of paying governors' pension. Okay, let's just satisfy them, let's just keep their mouth shut, let us pay them so they will even look at us. It could be. Lagos State has no business saying it cannot pay 35,000 minimum wage.
Oh yes, even more.
The way Lagosians are taxed corporately, officially and unofficially, Lagos State can pay it.
All right. Okay, let's hear Ayobaje.
As far as I'm concerned, I think first and foremost, in all honesty, and this is personal to me, I've looked at the body language of Governor Sanwo-Olu, and I've seen him as someone who has.
So I didn't get to see that body language because I see more of Hamza than him.
Just a minute. I see what we call the humanist in him. Yes. This is my personal. I mean, assuming he says he's not going to do it, but he has decided he's going to do it. You see, to have immediately he took over power. Remember that he doubled the salary of all these traffic people. I mean, those people who are involved in the management of
last month. Yeah.
Why will he not do it?
One of those.
Why will he not do it?
One of the first. One of the first places he visited, if you look at it very well, was the secretariat there to meet with the workers, to identify with them, to listen to them. I'm someone who has said that yes. When we talk about minimum wage, if there is restructuring, there are some states that can pay far more than that. But for the fact that this government has come up and willingly agreed to pay this amount, for me, it's kudos to him, and it's very good. Okay. So there are other states, even in the north, that are thinking of paying more than 30.
The reason he went to Alausa to meet with the workers was because Ambode was perceived or was portrayed to be hated by the workers at Alausa. It's not rocket science. It's not because it's human rights and he has their time. This was not pure politics.
But that is your own opinion. I think let us leave it at that.
I'm leaving you alone to that. I wouldn't agree with you. But my own take is this. Let all of them go back and go and read the blueprint of Pajakande. Let them go and read the blueprint. Even the military administrator, late Bobaladi Johnson, let them go and read it. Even let them go and read that of Marwa here. Marwa that is still very recent. Let them go and read it. So all these ones they are doing, I don't see it as they are just dancing. I see them as dancing to a particular tune. What to blow inside the trumpet is what the trumpet will blow out for you. Do you understand? Who among them prepared themselves for the position they are in all sincerity? Who among them? Today I say, what will you expect? It's just what they can quickly see on ground. Why did it take him so long? If truly is versatile in Lagos State governance, if truly has been part of them, why did it take him so long to come up with the list of commissioners? Why did it take him so long to hit the ground? Why did it take him so long to start his governance? Do you understand? So those are the questions. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to barrage you with a series of questions, you know. But my own is this. You see, in all sincerity, we should stop pushing people that are not ready for positions of governance. Let people that are ready. There are lots of people out there that are really ready. Before Sanwo-Olu, so many people have been coming up with a series of blueprints, series of plans that they have for Lagos State and all that. Allow such people. Not that you just go somewhere, go and bring somebody because you know. So let us as much as possible leave the civil rule we are and then move a little bit to the era of democracy, whereby everybody will be free to aspire for any position that he or she is ready to occupy. Not that you just go and bring this or you go and bring. No, it's not your turn. It's your turn. Go. Even if it's Anibesa, it's his turn.
So bringing credible people into governance.
We should learn how to have credible people in the government.
All said and done. Yours truly says, thank you, Governor Sanwo-Olu, for approving 35,000 workers. Let other states take a cue.
Definitely. And if I also want to say this, I also want people to go and listen to that my Independence Day broadcast. It's loaded. What we need to do is there. Just go to your YouTube. Dr. Daokade, Independence Day broadcast. You know,
I just want the ruling class, probably those in position of leadership, like the party's office, should think Nigeria by doing everything. We can talk, we can get emotive, we can get passionate, but they should at least demonstrate that humanity, just a fraction of it.
Okay, but aside, okay, fine, we're commending the 5,000 at least. That's a start for states. Yeah. What other things do you feel that Sanwo-Olu has been able to achieve so far?
For me?
Yes.
I've not seen it. I've just seen that. That's true.
That's for you?
Yeah, that's for me.
What about you, Aribat? Let's hear. So far, so good.
I mean, governance is something about identifying the critical problems that face the people.
Okay.
Prioritizing those issues and hitting them one after the other. I've told you that from what I've seen of this man, it may have taken some time to really, hit, but I think he has the interest of civil servants and the common people at heart.
Okay.
When you're talking of Lagos State, what is the percentage of civil servants that we have in Lagos State. We have more of private and industrial people in Lagos State. What is it doing about that? And that's why I said initially, people that are having the blueprint on how to solve, look at somebody like, what's his name? Balis or whatever, that has been contesting ever since. You know, Sally.
No, I think
somebody like, no, I'm only saying, you see, somebody like that.
It's not about for me.
It's about people that.
I'm not looking for the job.
No, listen, it's not about mentioning. What I'm saying is there have been people over the years that have been wanting to be. You should know that such people will have gotten their blueprint ready. Allow such people, align with them. Let us share. I mean, let us shy away from all this so-called party politics and all that. And bring people that can do it.
Credible people talk most a better government that cares about the interests of Nigerians, or rather of the people generally. Unfortunately, this is where we'll draw the curtains for today's edition of Editors Forum. Thank you very much, Yemi Saka. This is your face, I don't understand, but all the same, thank you very much, Yemi Saka, Baje, and Dr. Daraka. And to our beloved audience, thank you for always being a part of Editors Forum. And to all those who made this edition a success, I say a very big thank you. So do join us same time, same station next week in December for another edition of Editors Forum. I am Rita Omodia. God bless Nigeria.